That's funny. That's funny.
How do we change that?
That's funny. Okay, so I'm going to share this screen and I'm recording now. Okay, so let's go back here. All right, so if we wanted to add a rotating banner here, what we can do is we can go into interactive here. It's kind of hidden in there, interactive.
Change or add or do something. Is it always under elements?
It's always under elements. So yeah, that's a good thing. Let's go through that. So this left-hand menu here, the only real things you need to access most of the time, this one, pages and menu. So pages and menu has all your pages. You can move them by grabbing this little blue dot section there. You can move them within the menu. These are sub-menus, obviously, because they are underneath that. Also, sometimes you have a different icon here. That means that this isn't a page, it's just a category. So if you click on that, it actually doesn't go anywhere. It's just holding all of these other things. But basically, if you want to go to one of these pages in the editor, you just click on one of these pages from this pages and menus section. Up here, you see this little plus sign. This is anything you want to add to the site. You're going to do it from here. So yeah, images, text, decorative things, menu stuff, like anything. You can also copy elements from the page. So for example, if you wanted to put a new header, you could just copy this text. You could right click, copy, right click, paste, and then it's formatted exactly the same way, which is really useful. But yeah, yeah, it's nice because sometimes if you add text, for example, if I were to just go add text, you can choose what size of text you want. And then most of this is sort of formatted for the site, but it might not be the right size or color. And then, yeah, you double click it and you can edit it. This edit box comes up. So you've got fonts and size and all of that and color. It's kind of like Word. It's sort of similar. So if we're adding a slider with different images, that's under interactive. And these are full width slideshows. And so the thing that kind of gets people sometimes is it comes with all this sort of images already loaded, and it's just because it's showing an example. Obviously, you're not going to use these pictures, but you drop it onto the page and you sort of put it where you want it. It has moved this picture down a little bit, which is fine. And then you're going to just delete all of this pre-existing stuff. The other thing you'll notice is there's this little arrow here, which takes you to the next page. So this slideshow has 3 different slides in it. If you wanted more slides, you just click on Manage Slides and you can add new slides. So you can add as many as you want. You can delete them or duplicate them or rename them if you wanted to name it, volunteering, event or whatever. So I'll delete that and we'll just keep 3 for now. So, and you can also reorder them, same as your menu. You can reorder them like that with the little blue dots. So what we would do is we would change the picture on here. It has to be a pretty good picture because it's very large. But you just change it by hitting image. That's not listening. Yep. Yep. Yeah, you remember Squoosh. Great. Squoosh is it's a sort of image optimizer. It makes sure the photos aren't too huge going on the website because they can really slow the site down if they're massive images. So I don't know if you have an image that you want to use, you can always change the image later, but let's look up, for example, volunteer. Maybe just as an example, let's say we use, there's not really any great images that necessarily relate. You see anything? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So these lines, you can't see anything outside of this line.
Well, so with a full size, this picture takes up the entire strip. So it is optimized. It's that you don't have to worry about the lines with a full strip image. It's when you have content on top of it, so text or buttons or things, then it has to stay within there. And you'll see that when you try to put something like a piece of
Yeah.
text or something. So what we'll do is,
If you wanted to replace what's underneath it, then
mhm.
it would just,
I'm going to move this up because we know there's a bunch of stuff under here.
yeah.
And maybe we want to actually grab
Put
some of
that
that.
one
So I'm going to actually select both of these things
Mhm.
by just holding down the shift button, or you can even just go like this and grab it. I'm going to move it down so that I can make some space here. And then I'm going to grab it again and bring it up onto here. Now there's some issues with the color. It's a bit hard to read, but oh, there's that surfing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm just pulling it down. So I think that's actually, that looks like the background
Yeah.
of your site
Yeah.
somehow. Let's see if I go to,
Figure out the taste.
if I go into, oh, it's slow. If I go into page background, yeah, it's a surfer. That is so funny. Okay. So we'll just, no, because it was hidden by other stuff. So I just made it white. So that's gone. So I'm going to, oh, and there's an old logo. Yeah. Yeah. So everything just needs a bit of a cleanup.
Yeah, it does.
And this is where it can just be really helpful if I can just even go and like clean up the menu. Like I'll just fix this up because it's just a bit of a mess, but I won't do that right now because it's stuff that you don't really need to know how to do. You just do it once.
So if we wanted to put this is one of the
This is one of the images.
Mhm.
Okay, so if we wanted to do that, the only thing is I don't know what this picture is called. So let me see if I can figure out. Yeah, there's no details to tell me what it's called. So what I'm going to do if I want to figure out the next picture, I'm going to go to the next slide, and then I'm going to change this one. So change slide background, image, and what would that be? Helping hand? And it also could be with Unsplash. It might not be in Wix. It might be in Unsplash is another stock photography database. So Media from Wix and Unsplash are both free stock photography, and they're great. Shutterstock is not free. Those are paid. There it is. I think we found it. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Great. So now I'm going to delete this old picture that was here because it's just taking up a lot of space. I'm just going to select it and delete it. And then I'm going to grab this stuff and bring it up to there. Now we've got this picture with nothing on it. And we'll go to the next picture and choose something else because it's going to be food or something. Oh, it's exercising stuff. Okay, so let's just choose, I don't know. I'll just choose anything right now. So you guys can choose these. You can change these photos. So what I'd probably suggest with having text over top is that you have something highlighting different things for Civitan. So maybe, you know, there'd be something on an event that's upcoming and you'd have a little bit of text and then a button that leads to that page where it talks about that. So that it's not just text. So adding the button is going to be the same as this. And I'm actually going to add, I'm going to suggest that we add a box or something to make this writing a little bit easier to read. So I'm going to add, I'm going to go to box and I'm just going to drag a box onto here and probably just change the opacity and the color of it a little bit so that it's hard, so you can sort of see through it. So I'm gonna adjust the opacity and then we can put the text in there. And I'm probably also going to want to adjust the alignment of this. Maybe it's going to go on to the left side instead of centered. And you know, so something maybe like that. And then we can put this box somewhere like this. So I'd probably do something like that. I might adjust it a little bit more. Let's just see what it looks like with the preview. So we could also put it over here or whatever, but it's probably important. Yeah, it's probably important to have some kind of box to help make this
Yeah.
writing easier to read. The other thing you might be seeing is there's purple line there. So I'm actually going to change that to white. When it's shifting slides, we're seeing some purple, and this one has this color behind.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to change these colors to white because it looks a bit funny.
And how would you slow down the rotation? Speed up the rotation?
So the speed of rotation should be in the settings here, which is right here. So you just click on the slideshow and this little settings box.
Yeah.
Right now it's on autoplay. So it will just start loading. It'll just start switching automatically, and they are 5 seconds per slide.
Okay.
You can also add this stop autoplay on hover, which means that if you're hovering on the slide, maybe someone's reading what's on it and they don't want it to switch, it will stop. And then you can also adjust the way that it changes. So some people like this vertical sliding, there's crossfade, there's horizontal. Which one do you guys like? Any opinion?
The horizontal.
The horizontal? Okay, great. And you can even adjust like left or right. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm going to close that up. So for these boxes as well, we can add a box like this. So you see how I'm keeping it in between these two lines. And if I move it outside of here, it's yeah, you won't be able to see it. So, or maybe I'll put it like there because he's a little bit out of focus. I don't know. You can play with it.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do is just select that whole box, copy it, and then I'm going to go to the next one and I'm just going to paste it.
Okay.
So we'll have something similar, and then you would put a different message here. And actually, we're going to add a button to these too because we want these sliders to drive people into the website. So the buttons are also under Add Button. And you can grab a button from here. The other thing I often do is look for buttons that are already on the site to see if they are formatted a certain way so that it can match. These are not, what's going on down here? All right, these are not all that formatted, so I'm going to grab a button from here. Maybe, see what this one looks like on there. Get a little bit more space for it. Maybe adjust the text so that it's easier to read. So I'm going to change the color of the text from white to black and change the paragraph to that size there. So we would maybe just say learn more. If I double click on the button, then it lets me change what it says. And then I would link it to something. Okay. So the linking, I think you'd mentioned you weren't sure about linking.
Yeah, I've always been nervous of touching any of the links.
Oh, okay. So linking is really easy. The biggest thing is making sure that they are connected to something because there's nothing that instills less confidence than clicking on a link and it doesn't go anywhere. So for example, in this case, maybe people helping people, we are Civitan members, learn more. Maybe that would link to the about page. So you just click on this little link and then this is all the different things you can link to. So right now it's on page, so it will go to a page on the website, but you can also link to an external website or even a document if you've got an upload or something, or an email address or phone number or whatever. So we're going to go to page and maybe we'll go to our work. There. So I think I'm just going to copy this button and make sure that there's a button on the other page as well. And you guys we can add a link to something that makes sense. And then do we add this to the next page? Not yet. The other thing you can do when you have text over top of an image is you can just reduce the opacity of the image itself. So if I click on this image, change slide background, in the settings here, you can put a dark color behind it, and then you can bring the color down. It makes it easier to read. So that's another thing you can do if the image is important, but the text is more important. You can make it easier to read because you're just increasing the contrast between the two.
How does you create the slide in PowerPoint? What size is it?
This, Well, if you do it in PowerPoint or in Canva, do you know Canva?
Yes.
Yeah. Just make sure, yeah, that's great. I would make sure that you don't add any text. Add the text like this because yeah, just the image because it does have to adapt. So my screen is quite large. I'm a photographer, so I do a lot of editing and I have to have a big screen. But most people's screens are more like this size.
Yeah.
So you see this edge here is a lot smaller, so that's going to get cut off. So if you have, for example, a collage and got a bunch of photos, it just doesn't work. Try to find one good photo that you could use and I would just upload that. Because if you have a collage, like you might, some of it might be cut off and a lot of it might be covered by the text box. It's easier to just have one photo and it's not just a certain size. It changes depending on the screen. So definitely, especially if it's a cell phone photo or something, just put it through the Squoosh. Yeah. I mean, it's not the end of the world to have a few. It's when people have a gallery with like hundreds of photos, that's when it really starts to bog the website down.
For example, Civitan, which is celebrating the 60th anniversary. If we wanted to use that as one of the slides, what would you think of this week?
This. Um, so that's well, there's one thing you can do, which I did on another site. You can have a little scrolling note at the top of the site, which I think you guys would benefit from. I manage I don't know if you're familiar with this organization. It's called Highlands North Network, and they like to have this little scrolling banner on the top. Yeah, they just changed it. It's yeah. So I'm gonna see if I can add that up here, and then you can just change it. What do they call that? So if you can't find something in here, you can just search scrolling text.
See, that's part of my problem. I don't know the proper lingo for it.
Yeah, it can be hard to find things sometimes. That's why the goal is to kind of have everything lined up. And maybe it's under interactive. Maybe it's this. No. What's that called? List. Um, and sometimes things are in a funny place. So, you know what, I'm just gonna, yeah, I'm just gonna really quickly look in here for a second. See what it's called in here. Is that in the way for you guys? It is.
No.
Okay. Struggling.
And sometimes it takes a while for things to
Yeah,
load.
yeah, you know. Okay, so this is called text marquee. Text marquee. Okay. Text. I never would have guessed that. Yeah. Mm, hmm. What is that? It could have been an app. Okay, I might have to look for that because I haven't seen it immediately. I don't want to waste our time looking around for that.
Changes on this site,
Mhm.
you have to duplicate them on the mobile site.
So that's one thing we should definitely talk about. So when you make changes on the desktop, it does automatically show on the mobile site, but it needs to be adjusted. So this is how you access the mobile here. You click on this little one here, and it's going to need some help because we just did a big change. We just changed the header. So I'm probably going to make this bigger. You might even not want to have this kind of writing on mobile because people are scrolling past it very quickly. They're probably not going to sit around watching for three different messages, but they might see three different images, you know. So I would actually delete this on mobile, just this text on top. And you've got these arrows here, which are part of the design for the slider, but as you can see, they look a bit weird. So I would probably remove those arrows. That's in the layout here. You just go remove the navigation arrows. And if there's nothing that they need to do, they don't need the arrows. You could have, that one is not that bad. Like it looks actually pretty easy to read. I would maybe do something like this and probably have that as your first slide. And then the third one, I'm just going to delete this because it's obscuring too many of it. It's too much of the image. So now we've got that. I'd like to change it so that this hand image is the first one. So I'm going to go to manage slides. I think it was number 2. So I'm just going to drag it up like that. So it's the first one that shows. Now when I go over to mobile, it should be, oh, did it not? I wonder if I can adjust them individually on here. What? Okay. Maybe it just didn't load yet. And just so I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so that should be making that the first one. So let's just go check. That's still not. That's very interesting. It's not letting that one be the first one. Okay, that's not bad. About that. Okay, that's fine. We'll leave that for now. So, I'm just gonna make a note for myself. So yeah, I would have the scrolling marquee up at the top here with something like see upcoming events or Civitan celebrating our 60th anniversary. You could also have a picture of a 60th anniversary event or something, and then I would put this text in here in one of these boxes. But that would just be a matter of basically double clicking on this text and then, you know, celebrating 60 years or whatever. And are you familiar with these undo buttons? Undo and redo, which is really helpful. Really helpful. Yeah. So
all the previews before you.
that's right.
go live.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
we could probably leave this.
Mm-hmm.
Like use this now, like that website now, and then you and I will make it easier for us to add. These slides.
I'm just gonna really quickly do this just so you can watch. So I've just added a new strip, which is right here, strip. And a strip is basically just kind of a space that is a space on the page. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a column. I'm actually gonna add 3 columns. No, I'm gonna add 1 column. So you just click on it and you click on the strip and then you go to manage columns and you can add a column like that. So I did that because I want to have the logo over here and I want to have the menu over here and I want them to not be cut off. The other thing, again, you're not really going to need to do this most of the time, but this little layout button allows you to have the area over here. So the area where you're putting things is not in the middle. It's on the left side. If you click on an image also, you can adjust the crop if you double click on the image. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. This is something that you're not going to have to do. I'm just doing this once because I really want to adjust this menu because it doesn't look good. I'm going to adjust these columns. Well, no, it's probably, a mixture of design over the years, right? And it falls into disrepair when things are just kind of added over time. So I'm gonna adjust this to the right, and then I'm gonna put our menu over here, and we need to talk about the menu because there's a lot going on in here too, like followers.
Followers?
What is that?
No clue.
Okay, so we'll take a look at that. This search site, and then we'll move this
Yeah,
up.
none of that has been changed in my time.
No, okay.
And it's not very good.
Yeah, it's scary to touch it. Like if you're not sure, I totally understand.
Especially when they don't have a backup to the hell.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's take a quick look at what followers is. I have a feeling maybe it's some kind of social media thing. What is this? Oh, it's nothing. It's a category called followers. So we can delete that. There's nothing in that. Because you can see it's taking up space in the menu. And I'd like this menu to be adjusted to the right hand side, justified to the right. Like that, because we want it to fit within, we don't want it over there because I don't want it to get cut off.
I don't know why the home one is a different color.
Because we're on the home.
Oh,
So
I
it's
gotcha.
showing you that
Because we're
one because we're actively on that. So book hall, book event hall, members contact. Okay, so the one thing we could do, do you guys know that when you click on a logo, it typically takes you home, or is that
No, I didn't know that.
okay? So we'll leave home. Sometimes websites don't even have home in the menu because it's becoming sort of website common knowledge that if you click on the logo, it'll just take you home, but not everybody knows that. So I'll leave it for now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people know that home is.
Yeah. Okay. So now this is all aligned better. We're gonna move this. Did you want to move this into one of these? Just so we can clean up this header?
It's gonna be there for another month and then I'll get deleted anyway.
Okay, well,
You have to buy tickets by today anyways.
so there's an event.
Special event for members.
Okay.
That's the
Let's see. I'm just gonna say celebrating our 60th anniversary. And then maybe June. Is there a specific date that you know offhand? June 21st, 2025, and then this is going to take you to that event. So is there an event page for that?
No, the only thing we have is one poster, but I didn't bring it with me and it's not on my site right now.
Okay.
We could put it on. Well, do we need to? Because it's going to all members. It's not like it's something for the community. So why does it do that?
So see how, yeah, it's doing that because the picture's not big enough. So the picture is too small, and so it's instead of making it really grainy, it tiles the photo.
Okay.
If I put it to the original size, it won't even make it big enough. It's just scale to fit is gonna be really grainy. Yeah. So we can look for another photo. You know what? You'll probably have a photo from the event or whatever, but maybe I'll just go celebrate. And we'll just make it sort of a generic, something like that. I don't know. I don't know. We can change the photo to whatever you like.
Yeah.
But
that's fine.
Learn more is not, we don't have anywhere to send it to?
No, not just a poster.
Okay. Well, if you have a poster, is the poster on the website?
No, it's not on there right now.
Okay.
Because it was just sent to members.
Okay.
It wasn't just advertised.
Oh, it's not a community thing. Okay.
Members and we all got one by email.
Okay. Well, what you could do if you wanted is this button could link to that poster. And when you click on it, it opens up the poster with the information. If you would link that, you just click on this and go to link.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what you go is to document. And document is a PDF. It can't be an image. It has to be a PDF. Yeah, or a Word document, something like it has to be an actual document. So if it's if it's a JPEG, if it's from Canva or something, make sure to download it as a PDF. Yeah. So if you're running into problems, it won't let you add it as a document. That's why. So you would just upload that document to here, and then you would select it and add it as a document. You connect it like that.
Okay.
So that's what I would suggest doing.
Yeah, because we have a lot of events.
Yeah. And that's a good way, without having to make an event page, that's a good way of having the information show up on the website really quickly. So now can I delete this? Or do you want to, now that we have it there?
Yeah.
So we'll clean that up. And then this, we're going to add that as this scrolling thing. I just have to find that text marquee, and I'm just going to look one more time because it's driving me crazy. It's got to be somewhere. Running text. There are all these little apps and things too that sometimes they are Wix apps and sometimes they're other apps, and I like to use the ones that are built in because it's just smoother.
And it tells you whether it's free or whether it's
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes some of the apps you get charged, and you don't want to have that. Is it? Oh, are you not using Google Calendar? Or which calendar are you using? Okay, so I'm gonna add the text marquee when I can find it. I'm gonna look into where it is on the other site. But this is already better. This is off to the side. I've connected that to the home so you can click on it and it takes you home. The menu is cleaner, it's off to the right. This stuff is all above.
Can you see it on the preview?
Yeah, and this doesn't belong here. Like it's actually, I'm just leaving it there for now so that I remember what to put. But it's just a little bit cleaner. So there's your slider with the different messages and things. You'll notice that this little bit of text comes in slowly like that. You can adjust those. They're called animations by clicking on the text, and this little button shows that it's animated. So we can take that off if we want, or we can fade it. You can have it do all kinds of different things. Yeah. So in this case, it seems a little slow. So I'm actually just going to remove it because you want it to show up kind of with photo. This might even be animated. No, it's not. Okay, let's move on a little bit. So down here, these are columns. Yeah. So this is a strip with 4 columns, and this is really good. The text is all within the lines.
Well, it wasn't. I just adjusted that recently.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, playing with it. On screen, depending on the device people are using, sometimes it was overlapping.
Exactly. Yeah. So for example, even if I go,
centered underneath.
yeah, so you can, is that a button? Oh, it's a button. These are buttons. Interesting.
Because you link to the page.
Okay, but you can also just link text. So for example, if I just added that as text, you can select the text and link it. It doesn't have to be a button. You usually use a button if you want it to show something different if you scroll over it. So let's see if that does something, like if the text changes color, see it changes color when you scroll over it, which is nice. But it does make it a little bit more finicky for editing the size of it and all that. So I would make it smaller because it's going to cut off. So you have to go into customize design, and I would maybe just make it like 30 or something like that. Bring it within there. Yeah. No, I don't feel like these are buttons. Yeah, these aren't buttons. Oh, they are. Okay. So those are all buttons. I'm going to just bring them in like this. And this section here was like, it would be nice if these had an image or something.
Yeah,
it just feels kind of, so, yeah. So I think maybe the best thing would be to just add an image before. So I'm gonna go to image and let's just grab.
Oh, there should be somebody. Oh,
Oh, okay. Well, you mean in the uploads?
yeah.
I'm gonna go like this. We're gonna go to one of these folders, I'm assuming. And this doesn't have to be a big picture because it's just going in that small space. So do you see a picture in here that we could use? These are all documents. So these are all PDFs.
On the hall, there are photos. On the whole page. Yeah, on the whole page. Can we take
Oh.
them from the whole page?
Well, they would be, if they're on the whole page, they would be in here. Oh, like one of these?
Yeah, so that's the one here.
Which one? The black one or the white one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna select that, add it to the page. It's not gonna be the right size. So I'm just gonna grab the corners and I'm gonna make it smaller. And then I might even crop it. So I'm gonna make some space here and I'm gonna bring it into that space. And if you're gonna have a picture here, I don't know. I don't know if you even necessarily want these colors, but like I might just design this so that it's on white and the text is black, but I'll just show you. I'm gonna show you what it means. So, like for example, if I were to just, you can see how it's a bit of a run around to change the text when it's a button, but whereas this is just text, so I can just double click it and it changes color. And I'm also going to adjust the alignment. So this is on this alignment. I actually want it centered. So it's a bit nicer.
Yeah.
So, and what I would typically do, instead of having this be the button, that's not that intuitive. I would actually add button. I would add a button down here. See how that just looks really clean? So I would probably make these all white.
All white.
It's nice. It's cleaner.
Yeah.
And then you can always add things like different frames and things, which is kind of nice. It just makes it feel like it's doing something. So
How did you do that?
so this is in, if I click on the image and I go to design, it gives you these options. So do you like something like that? And you can even make them round, you know. So let's go with that for now and I'll show you what it looks like. Right. So see how it just looks a little bit cleaner?
Other columns then to kind of distinguish
Yeah.
them.
So I would yep. So what you can do is we can okay. I'm gonna make these all the same as this. So very quickly I'm going to just copy and paste and bring this over here. I'm actually just gonna adjust the color of this. Sorry, bear with me. I think I'm gonna just make this white or black as well. And I'm gonna align it center. And then we got text down here too that needs to be aligned in the center and black. And then I'm going to adjust this to white and just make them all white. And then I might be able to add some lines in between, but you can see how I'm just making these black, adjusting it to 30 because that's what we did with the other ones. Double click, make this aligned in the center and black. And I'll just do the same with this one really quick because we're doing it. Pretty. And then we'll just take this picture that's over here, copy and paste. And you can use the little guidelines to make sure it's centered. And then we'll change that photo to whatever makes sense for that page. And then I'm going to select this column here and change the background to white. And once we've done that, I think that looks a lot cleaner. They stand out pretty well. Yeah, like you might not need anything underneath. It's a little bit of a shame that this one goes down so far. Do you need to have both of those, or could you make that a little bit more concise?
They're two separate things.
I see.
Could we maybe just line up the more all the same at the bottom?
Yeah, that's true. This just might feel really low, but let's see how it looks.
If we have a uniform.
Like that.
What's a section? Sorry.
Section?
When you go down,
Yeah.
it said as section.
Yeah, so that's actually something that's fairly new. So it's kind of like a strip, like a bit of space, except it's if you click on it, it just adds a space and then you can put things inside of it. You can put strips or images or text or whatever you want. It's kind of like just a space. Yeah. And the nice thing about it is you can title it. So if you had, a section about hall fees or something, you could rename this hall fees, and then you can actually link to that section.
Okay.
So if you were linking from somewhere else, you could link to that spot on the page. Okay. But it's kind of the same thing as a strip. Now, what is this? This will find out more. Let's see if it links anywhere. It links to who we support. So I feel like, this is a little bit of text that has been lost because it's the wrong color. So I'll just fix it. It looks like this would have been some kind of little infographic or like just a little bit of info about what Civitan's all about. So this section here is just really big, so I would probably just bring this up a little bit because it's just taking up a ton of space.
And see, also there's not even anything there that says, what was it?
This weird, yeah. Yeah, it's obviously been hidden or covered up by stuff. Yeah. Should I just clean it up? Just take it out? What do you think?
Let's see somebody on here.
The other thing,
what's along Civitan, join us.
the other thing, we could also put it in one of these. Yeah. So maybe we put it in the one that we don't have anything.
Yeah.
So I've copied that text and I'm gonna just add it as text here. And what was the last bit? We don't really need that. Okay. I'm gonna just get rid of that.
Okay.
And then we'll link that to who we support.
Sure.
Yeah, you can change that whatever you want. So, yeah, we'll need to change that picture. So definitely change some photos. So you remember how to change the photo, right? You just select it, change the background. Okay, so let's go down the page a little bit more. We need to change these photos. If we go into here, maybe we can find something in bingo. Oh, there's nothing in there. But this is something we could easily find a bingo picture. Oops, what's this? I'll look in on Splash here. Bingo. There's got to be something.
It's just it's in there, like the cards.
These?
No.
This one here?
Not right here.
Oh, sorry. That's okay. I don't see it. Yeah. Sorry. I know. There, I'll add that one.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Now, and
Okay.
then
A wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just add that really quickly so it's done. Wheelchair.
Yeah, something like that wheelchair and that.
With this one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see my arrow.
Yeah.
And then this one is what's on.
That.
Yeah, maybe calendar. Like this or something.
Yeah, it's too businessy.
Yeah, that's true. Mm. Or something like that.
The third one.
The third one? Oh, yeah. No, I'll look. Okay, that one. Okay, so that's a little bit better. I still don't really love how this is so far down. But maybe we could in-house bingo.
It was really on ones.
Donate their time and provide. Maybe we could just make it a little bit shorter. So like for example, we don't necessarily they're going to click through to learn more. So maybe it can be
We could eliminate the first portion, which is the town members donating their time to the
exactly.
learning.
Yeah. Bingo.
Just put it in.
Yeah, or it says in-house bingo, so every Wednesday. Perfect. Oops. Every Wednesday night starting at or you could even just have 7 to 5, or no, 7, no, doors open at 5. Okay. And then, but even that really helps. Like that really, really brings it up. So we'll just move these up a bit. But again, you guys can play with that. It's just a matter of moving the buttons to where you want them. But I think that's a lot cleaner.
Yeah, it is. And you can make it smaller.
Yep. Pull it up a bit. And then this is a strip with columns inside of a section. That's why there's kind of 2 lines there. This is please note the Civitan property is private property. What is this about? This is like
we have some stalkers, next and stuff at the back, and people in the area bring their dogs in there, and when the dogs sick and they don't pick up after themselves, and then kids go in there. So
okay. I bet I would put this in the maybe in the marquee or so because you've got there's a bunch happening here. This is a slideshow, but it's only one. It's actually supposed to be just a strip because there's actually 2 slideshows here. Oh, they're duplicated. Okay, so this needs to be kind of
actually you could probably take that first one right over
this one here.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that needs to be like prominent. It's not on the mobile site at all.
It's probably hidden based on the way that this is set up. I would maybe
That's
just
not on here at all.
I'm just gonna add a strip instead. So we're gonna just design a little we're just gonna design a little thing for this notice because it's pretty, unattractive. It's just a bit of text. So if you go to strip here and you look at these different templated things, you can actually choose something that could work for this notice. So for example, maybe we have a picture of a dog and some grass, right? So maybe like something like this. And we change this to picture of a dog. Um, something like any opinions? Maybe this one.
The first,
This one?
the first one.
This one here? So I'll have a picture of a dog. And then we'll just clear this text and we'll add this down here. And I'd probably format it a little differently. And then add a header to it, which with some text, maybe something this size. That just says, notice. Or whatever you want. I'm gonna make it black. And then maybe I'll make this bold so that it's a little bit more visual. Make that black too. I don't know, maybe add a little bit of a. Thank you. Yeah, just so it feels like a little bit nicer. So that is very. So
I don't know if it needs to be super prominent, but
yeah, it's pretty prominent, but you know, if you're having a problem with it, that's sort of what it looks like. And on mobile, it will be stacked. So you'll have the image on one section and then the other piece with the writing will show below it. So now this needs to be adjusted because I messed up I played with the header, so it all needs to be so slow. So sorry.
okay. I think we can go in and fix stop part of it.
Yeah, I can.
I think I had some trouble with, we had both of us trying to get this little menu.
Oh, yeah.
Stop.
This menu here? Okay, so
I figured it out, but it was really hard. Better than it was.
yeah, okay. I'm just gonna. Okay, there we go. Now it's letting me edit. So on mobile, everything's kind of stacked. I'm gonna hide that. We don't need it. This, what is this? Where did that even come from?
Because it goes. It's supposed to go kind of here,
Oh, I
beside the logo, and then we have the menu beside it. I see. So we can move this over.
We could bring this up to here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe like that. And then this was like that. So I'm gonna make it more square. And then we can get rid of some of this stuff. So we can just pull that up and it's so much cleaner. There. Now, this menu you can adjust by double clicking on it. And
we have a hard time changing
okay. So when you click on this, you can go into design. And this lets you adjust all the fonts and everything. So here's yeah, it's pretty small. I would probably make it a little bit bigger.
I think that was our issue before, was it was big and it was
too big.
You couldn't see it at all.
Oh, it was cut off.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing you can do is just bold it because it makes it a little bit easier to read. Oh, I don't think anyone else is in another page. I'm just gonna save this before. It's just refreshing the editor. Oh, this editor. So it's just.
So there are a couple of other items once we've done that that we
Yep.
need to address.
Okay.
The day before we run out of. The surfer guy's gone.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna check on this because it normally only gives you 30 minutes. 40 minutes.
Oh, for the video?
For Zoom. And I just want to make sure it's not